Hello fam, it's been a couple of days since we last visited Alipat's farm, and we are currently here to learn about how to grow beetroot. It looks like the crops are ready to be transplanted. Let's jump straight into the video and talk to Alipat and see how we can grow the beetroot.
Welcome to Alipat's farms once again. My name is Ali Mustafa.
The whole process, how do you go about it?
After getting your beet seeds, what you need to do is to have a suitable site for your nursery. So you construct your bed like this. You then spread your seeds. Either you drill it in lines or you broadcast your seeds on the beds. Next thing that you need to do is to cover the seed with a fine soil or any soilless medium like cocoa peat and the rest. After you have covered your seeds with the soilless or the soil medium, what you need to do next to water it and then cover it nicely and wait for about 4 days to 5 days for germination. So after then, 2 weeks after you have sowed your seeds, you can get to start with your planting. So you then prepare your bed on the field, and then you start to cultivate your beetroot. So when your have your beet reach a stage like this, it's ready for transplanting. So you can have a beet like this and it's ready for transplanting.
So all these are from Togo?
Yeah.
Why do you buy from Togo, not Ghana?
It depends the season. If the season come, you buy for Ghana. If the season, you go Togo. Sometimes we buy for Togo.
So the beetroot is from Togo?
Yes, it's from Togo.
Cropping calendar we don't give out, but I have to give it to you because keep subscribing to the channel all the time. So I have to give it to you. So here is our prepared bed for the cropping, and then here we have 17 feet by 1 foot. So that is the size of my bed for the planting of the beetroot. Out here we have the holes being created already, and here we have 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. That is 10 centimeters within and 10 centimeters between. So here you have your planting distance to be 10 by 10. So you then have your seedlings. That's your beetroot seedlings inside my trays. So you take one seedling per hole that you have created. When you are taking out the seed from the tray, you have to make sure that you take it safe with the soil under it so that it will be free from burning. So here we go, you have your one plant, then you just fix it inside the hole. You pick the other one too. You pick the other one too. You pick it like this, then you fix it inside the hole that you have created. But you have to make sure that when you are pressing the seedlings, you press it well to the extent that you don't break the roots. Because if you break the roots, the plant won't survive. So this is how you're gonna go by it. Also, one thing about the planting is that when you are transplanting, you make sure that you transplant it early in the morning or later in the evening. Early in the morning or later in the evening. You don't transplant during the heat day. So after you are done with your transplanting, you just have to leave it, because you have already wet the ground before you are transplanting it. So you leave it in the evening. If you transplanted it in the evening, then the next morning, early morning, you need to give it a water. Or when you transplant it in the morning, you need to make sure that in the evening you give it a water so that it can have a good stand. So after you are done with your transplanting, you just have to monitor your crop for 1 week. When it shoots out a new root, So when it shoots a new root, then your fertilizer application starts. Because if you are doing it inorganic way, that's where you are going to apply your NPK 15-15-15 or 23-10-10 or 25-10-10, any compound of the fertilizer. And also, if you are doing it organic, already you have mixed your soil with manure, so you just have to leave it and then you are good to go. There is a visible hole. There's a visible holes under. So when you are applying your fertilizer, what you have to do is you do a starter solution with the fertilizer. You dilute or you dissolve the solid form of the fertilizer to the liquid form, so that you apply 30 ml. You apply 30 ml of the dissolved solution under the roots. You give 30 ml per plant. It should be 1 inch far from the root, because when it gets closer to the plant, most of the times when the liquid even touches the leaf of the beet, it bent it. So that's the reason why it needs to be a little far away from the plant. So after fertilization, you just have to monitor your insect infestation. And then the common insect that normally affects this plant is leaf miner and also fly beetle. So when you have symptoms or you observe these changes on your crop by finding holes inside the leaves, then it needs to tell you that you have infested by fly beetles, so that you go by the recommended insecticide to be used to treat this. If we are doing it organic, then I recommend you to use a neem tree leaves, and then together with hot pepper, and then you that's chili pepper. You can use the powdered one, or you blend with garlic and then you use it as the application. With the inorganic one, I recommend you to use lambda, either lambda or Sampirifos. Or Sampirifos is advisable, or lambda. Another infestation that also occurred on this is root rotting. So the root rotting is a situation whereby you overwater the plant or the crop all the time. So if you overwater it all the time, it results in a root rotting. So you limit the rate of applying water to the plant. From the seed stage to the maturity period is 42 to 50 days, depending on your soil type. You just have to monitor the rest of the days, and then you get it harvest. To get a root formation depends on your fertilization. That's your fertilizer application. So that's why I said if you want to use manure, you don't have to wait when you are transplanting it before you are going to use this manure. But what you have to do is to mix the manure with the soil for about 2 weeks before the transplanting can start, so that the nutrient that the plant will need has already been mixed with the soil, or it has been, decomposition has been taking place. And if we are using the NPK, that's why I recommend 15-15-15 or 25-10-10 to you, because when you apply that under the crop, definitely you are going to get a rooty or a heavy root. You know, getting into production or beetroot production as a business entails a lot. One advice that I want to share with you is that whenever you want to start a production, even including beetroot per se, make sure that you have already market before you go into that production, or make sure that you find a suitable location whereby that kind of crop are demanding.
As you can see, the pineapple are getting rotten. All the pineapple are getting rotten. Then my uncle too is in. We have to move the ghost out of the house.
If you didn't seek that knowledge first, or you don't have that market access first, that means you can do a production and run at a loss. These things normally happens to a lot of farmers or a lot of startups who want to start or venture into this business, because everybody is doing it, so he or she want to also venture into without finding any market. find a market, and you thank me later. There's a story that I want to share. When starting this beetroot production and other vegetable as a business, I started it myself alone, and then whilst I was in the business, normally I go to the market with my mom. So when we go on market, and then after the sales of the produce that we have sold and other stuff, so mom look at this and say, just few days that you begin with this, and look at the amount of money that you are getting out from this. And then beetroot per se, or particular, because of its health benefit and a whole lot. Because mom was once having a problem with blood pressure, and then once that she feels burnings in her heart, and then just used to take the beetroot. So once she takes in the beetroot, she's fit now. So this even ginger her to even advertise to other colleagues and other people. So other people too tested it and they say, oh, it's fine, it's nice. So people were rushing. Mom too said no. For that reason, and then the seeing of the amount of money that is coming out from this production, then I myself, my son, I will take the land your previous land, I'll take it from you, and I will start the production this year. I bought her seeds, and now she's starting because there is money in the soil. Take this serious. If you want to go into a production, please seek for knowledge. Get the know-how before you venture into the business, because you venture into a business without a knowledge and you run at a loss. Farming is a culture, it's a way of life. So let's see and work on it. Thanks.